Well, good evening. And clearly, I am not Louisa of Feel Good Astrology. Here she is, and just fresh from calling me a narky old bastard from the other side of the room. So that's a really good example of what we're hoping to talk about this evening. Good evening to you, Mrs. M. So weird. It's so weird. There you are there, and there you are there as well. And there we are behind us.
Oh, yeah, no shadows.
Yeah, I'm going to have to sit down for all of this. Because it'll be clear that I don't have trousers on. If should I stand up with that rear reflection?
Me neither.
You know, okay. Please stop distracting me. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Spiritual Portugal, and we are broadcasting on a number of platforms this evening, YouTube and Facebook. And it'd be great to hear from you if you have tuned in. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. And what I'll do is I'll read
Do you know you could do that?
Do what?
Click on that to see who's actually on. That's incredible.
It's good to work with a pro from time to time, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Can you share it there as well, or is it too late?
Not at all. No, you can do that during the show as well.
Wow,
so,
and there.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've hit the limit. 8 destinations. Let's get rid of that one. Remove that there. Sorry, bear with us, everybody, and pop that there, and that'll work. So what I want to say. Just setting things up for this evening. How's your spirituality working out for you? Who's up for a challenge tonight? That is the idea. It's been said that how we do one thing is how we do everything. I don't like to write "it's been said that" because really it's just me saying that. Like it's said, or it says in the Bible. It's good. This is Spiritual Portugal, and it's good to be owning things, isn't it? So I think it's true. This occurs to me as being a true thing, not the truth necessarily, but a truism about how humans are. How we do one thing is how we do everything. So, for example, the way Louisa makes me a cup of tea, which can be sometimes quite full to the brim, not necessarily as I like it, is
sometimes a bit late.
Yeah, sometimes a bit late. Is generally how you would go about a lot of things. Now that doesn't. Are you just checking to see if you're offended or not? And can we come back to any offense?
No, we can come back to it all. It's fine. Okay, I'm just trying to think if that's how I do everything else. Like, is that how I make love? Is that how I work with my clients?
So how we do one thing, check this for yourself, everybody. How we do one thing is how we do everything. And perhaps this is the greatest test of our spiritual growth. And the greatest sign of the buzzword, the embodiment of our highest value. So what I'm trying to say there is that
I don't think I agree with that. I'm just like processing.
Agree with what? Which bit? All of it?
I just don't. I think the way.
Well, you write the show notes then. It's one thing to be this whole. Don't worry, folks. This whole hour is going to be processing this. Yeah. We may need a mediator, right? Jim might be here. He's quite good at that sort of thing, I think. It's one thing to be able to meditate on retreat or look, in brackets, sound good in an echo chamber, which this show could be in danger of being an echo chamber, right? Mm-hmm. Could be a lot of spiritual types, sort of patting their own in each other's bellies, sticking in a thumb, pulling out a plum and saying, what a good boy or girl am I?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't want it to be like that, personally. It might just be the mood I'm in. But how are our highest ideals? Who writes this stuff? And insights working out for us in our everyday lives. Okay, so what the point I'm endeavoring to make, I don't know how well, you tell me, as someone who might be watching or listening to this, me trying to make sense of this, but spirituality can be quite an abstract thing. It can be a whole load of rules or ideas that you have that you keep quite privately. But what I'm proposing here is if it's a true and useful spirituality, it's going to show up in pretty much every area of your life, and ideally make an improvement, rather than be something you just do at the weekends. I mean, this is what people who go to church get criticised for, isn't it? It's just like being good on Sunday. And I think a lot of so-called spiritual people are like that as well. This sounds horribly critical, I suppose, because it is. But I hope I can make the point generously and not in a horribly judgmental way, because I'm going to put myself under the same scrutiny.
Good. I can see that we've got 9 comments already.
Oh dear.
Since you've been talking. Yeah, gassing.
Gassing on. Okay. Can I just finish this bit then?
Yeah, go on.
So let's take a look at this tonight. As Mrs. M heralds the imminent equinox, potato. And I attempt, I don't know if I'm going to get around to this, but launch my online course bootcamp, because how you might launch an online course would be a very good reflection about you, how you feel about every other area of your life, self-worth, money, how you relate to other people, how you feel about your area of expertise. I think it's quite a good workshop in itself, and not one you would necessarily put yourself through. And if you have been, like a lot of spiritual people, have been thinking about doing a course for the last 5 years, but haven't got their finger out, now might be the time. And why is that? So as Ram Dass said, and isn't that a terrible name for a spiritual teacher?
Why?
Rammed ass.
Oh.
Had you never thought of that? Ram Dass, if you think you're enlightened, spend a week with your family. Okay, so we're not asking for that level of extreme spirituality. We wouldn't dream of putting somebody through that. But how about we start with those everyday things? How we show up in the daily round, the common task, as the true signs of our development and our enlightenment, if we claim to be so. I'll leave you to do some comments now. We'll have a sip of my tea.
Well, I mean, this is about everybody else, isn't it? This isn't
not about me.
It's not our show. It's our show with everyone else. So let's just welcome a few people on. Where are we? First of all, let me just get rid of the display name at the bottom, because we don't need that.
What's that about?
I just, I haven't got time to type in with my sausage fingers, Carl and Louisa Munson.
Okay.
But let's go back to the comments.
Right.
So we've got who's joining us tonight? We've got Jim White. It's very good to see you too. Thank you very much. And we've got a Bournoit from Victoria Benson. Hey, Victoria. How are you? Are you over here now?
9 days.
9 days. That's
9
not
days.
long. Oh, wow.
Before the remake of Baywatch with Ian Turner and Victoria Benson in the Algarve.
I did hear about that. That sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
Portuglish Andrew says, good evening, Munsons. Good evening back to you.
Hey, Andrew.
Kimberly's here. Yes, I made it for a while anyway. Well, let's hope you made it through Carl's intro.
Didn't drop off during that.
But it's okay, Kimberly, because you'll be able to watch again. And I've got, some things to do, as you know. So
hey, look.
Rowan Ford's joining us.
Dog is here as well. Hello, mate.
Hey, Rowan. Very nice to be joined by you tonight. We've got Jim White again. Is saying Sherry Huber, a Buddhist nun, says that too.
I'm in good company.
Yeah, but
which
what?
Bit, okay.
Which bit of that?
What if you think you're enlightened, spend a week with your family, or is your spirituality an everyday and robust thing?
Or how's that working for you?
Or Carl, you knocky old bastard.
Yes,
did she say that?
I mean, she might have
She
done.
better not have. I don't even know the woman. Okay.
Victoria's saying that's a big think right out of the gate. Wow. Again, we don't know which one it is, because Carl's intro was quite
lengthy.
Yeah. We've got another hey from Portuglish.
Yes,
is that the same as Portuglish Andrew?
Yeah, he's saying, hey, stop, Carl. Hey. Stop going on. There are people trying to say hello.
Keep disagreeing, Louisa. No echo chambers, thanks. Yes, thank you, Kimberly. I was kind of wanting to kind of get Carl to his point, and also sort of challenge him on it. And I am going to.
It's like our sex life then. Sorry, go on, carry on.
I do want to revisit that original premise from Carl. However, we have some other pressing things to do, because I've promised to do a bit of online live astro work as well. So
Round astro work. Hey, how about that? A hybrid of astrology and spirituality called Rammed Astrology. Rammed Astrology. Yeah, be here now. Look at your chart now.
Okay.
You're thinking about that.
Well, that's more. Isn't that more? What's his name rather than Ram Dass?
Well, be here now.
Yeah, like the power of now.
No, he's the original boy. His old Ram Dass with his be here now. Eckhart Tolle's a right Johnny come lately. To me, I think he gets far too much credit. He ripped off my great teacher Barry Long.
Did he?
Yeah, he was a Barry Long student, and then he kind of reframed it, and came along and took all the credit. Well, I mean, that is a bit of a misrepresentation, but I do feel a little bit bitter about that.
Okay, thanks. Margarita saying, hola, Carl and Louisa. Thank you very much. Hola, Bournoit. Victoria saying, struggling to emerge from the busyness to be able to breathe and rest and feel love. All that good stuff on the other side. PT for Portugal after the
Yeah.
craziness here. Well,
Yes.
there is something nice about when you land in another country and you set foot in that country and you smell it for the first time. Like the smell of rain on the pavement smells different in different places, doesn't it?
Petrichor.
Is that what it's called?
As do the drains as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it's going to be a new experience. So I'd love to know how you experience it when it comes your way. You know, that first moment. I think it's
As an
really
empath as well, I'm hearing a little bit of a struggle. Well, Victoria Fairplay used the word struggling, so that's not that good a bit of empathy, is it? But I'm thinking, not unlike us at the moment, you know, we're in the middle of quite a major life change, aren't we? Or have been for the last
4 years.
Yeah, okay, 4 years.
We have been since we've been together, haven't we?
Yeah,
really?
true. For the last 10 years, but this is intensified in the last little while. We've been like no complaint, but I mean the truth of it is,
It's been hard work, isn't it?
well, we've moved house, stayed at someone else's house, and now had a little holiday, and we're going to the house we're going to tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm
And we've been working the whole way through this. Like
Yeah.
we haven't stopped working. We haven't like taken a holiday. I mean, that might have been nice. But
send the kids to boarding school or something like that. It could have worked, couldn't it, during this time? But I'm feeling that, Victoria. You know, this how you and all of us here have our ways that we would look to cope on a good day. You know, meditating, mindfulness, and so on. But then the big life stuff happens, which is obviously what you're going through. 9 days to go until you move to Portugal. That's the real test, isn't it? That's the real test of your stuff, of what you believe in and your highest ideals. So I'm hearing that, and I wonder how that's going. For me, you know, I've really felt quite overwhelmed at times in the last little while, and I have had to sort of put things to the test. What are you laughing at? Why are you sniggering away? Am I going on too much? We've got a lot.
No, I'm just thinking about. First of all, I probably need to be close to the mic because you're booming with your voice, aren't you?
Well, I am, but that's why I've got the headphones on to balance things up a little bit.
But I was just thinking about your behaviour since we've been here.
My behaviour.
Like how like how we went and used like a really private area and just like went in. We didn't get permission to do it.
How I took the dog into a shopping
Oh my
centre.
goodness. That was the other one I was thinking about.
I think I've
Yeah,
changed.
I mean, Carl is very devil may care at the moment. Like we went to this really big like forum, like a big shopping center where you know, they're moaning if your mask isn't completely over your nose. I mean, they are really on it. And we went walking with some friends and we wanted to go there, and then we realized at the last minute we had Peggy, our little short leg terrier, who's got these tiny little legs. You can't even imagine how she holds her whole body up because she's quite a fat little thing. And we realized we couldn't go in, and so Carl took her in as if she was like some kind of celebrity pooch under his arm. And I was like, there's no way you're going to be able to get her up.
Jedi mind trick.
Up,
I was
waiting
for a security guard to come up to me, and I was going to say, "This is not the terrier you're looking for," and we got away with it.
Yeah, but I mean, like we had to get up 4 floors. I mean, there's thousands of people in there and loads of security guards. And we went up 4 floors to get to the big eating area so we could go outside and she could just like hide under a table while we all had some food. And he did it. And I didn't think, I mean, I was ready creating a little bit of a distraction, trying to get the kids looking really cute. But like
doing jazz hands to distract people away. Over here. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
and then you got her out as well. And then like, you know, today he's really brazen, kind of like taking us to this part of the resort that's closed down almost. Like there was no one there
You're not meant to go through the car park normally.
I don't
But
think
it felt
so.
it felt like another part of the Death Star, doesn't it? As we were trying to find the spa from a different angle. And I can understand why you would have thought I was being quite out there with that.
Daring, yeah.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I'm thinking, you know, life's too short for being too concerned and worried about some things.
Yeah, it's like you don't give a monkeys about what people think.
And
I think that's great, actually.
I will deal with it. I'm not trying to break the law or anything. I will face the consequences. I'm not trying to get away with anything.
Yeah.
You know, this part of it is facing the consequences. So
Yeah.
it's in the same territory of putting into practice what I believe and owning my stuff. As best I can.
I think it seemed shocking to me because there were things that I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Not because I wouldn't want to, but because I wouldn't dare to. I'd be too worried about what people think and getting caught out and stuff. But I love the fact that you get away with it. It's so amazing. Jim White's saying, I think that part of our spirituality has to do with how we manage our moods and emotions and how we come back to some sort of center, watching the triggers and then course correcting when possible.
Yeah, well said, Jim.
Yeah, totally.
Active spirituality. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was chatting to some people over the weekend, and it's really interesting when you're talking to people who are kind of spiritual and don't have 3 kids and have to work part-time, which feels full-time because you've got the kids. No, it's great. I mean,
Good for them. Good for them.
Everyone's got different
setup.
Setup, you know, and like I did a show with my friend Tanya last week, and right at the start, Tanya was saying, and she's like an awakened being. She's really lovely. Like she does breath work and she's beautiful. I mean, she really is a lovely person. We love her, don't we? And you know, she was saying about how she started her day with a beautiful bubbly bath and intentions and really setting herself up. And I was saying I started my day with a 2-year-old foot to the head, followed by a very unsatisfactory bath with people shouting at me and stuff. So you know, it was you. But like, you know, when you have to try and be centered whilst you're on the job, it's really hard. Not on the job, but you know, like
I do try and be centered when I'm on the job, part of my tantric training, which we might cover tonight.
I imagine it's easier to be kind of centered and grounded and know what you're doing when you've got the time to be on your own and you've got the time to think it through. I'm continuously living my life through you know, my lens of how it looks to all of my family. So, you know, it just feels really bonkers.
But that's the thing as well.
And
though,
I need to make
being busy, and that could be enlightenment bypassing, couldn't it? So
totally.
I'll make myself so busy that I don't have to look at anything. Not that I'm accusing you of
no,
that.
no. Well, I mean,
I think you do that.
But I actually think you do that. I mean, when we're at Hannah's, you totally did it. You worked so many more hours than you needed to, and you do it with every job.
Not a note to self. Note from Mrs. to me. That is.
Well, I mean, it's not a surprise that we see that in each other
as an avoidance. You think?
I mean, maybe we're avoiding being together.
Oh my God! What a revelation to share. Just 17 minutes in. That's awkward. Move on. Let's have a look. What else?
Paul Richards, define spiritual, guys. What?
Oh, why doing?
Oh, why doing? What's that mean?
I'm not sure what that means, but define spiritual. Okay, I mean, I would say, Paul, and that's what this Spiritual Portugal show endeavors to be about, from my point of view, is a spirituality that works, that causes one to be more functional and joyful and reduces unhappiness in life, thereby revealing our true state of joy as human beings. That's my definition of spirituality.
Right, we've got to like stop the chit chat actually, and really so like cut through it, because we've got loads of people coming in. Yeah. Grey Watch. Not sure what that is. What is Grey Watch?
It's the new version of Baywatch.
Oh. Yeah, that could be you running with Peggy under your arm.
Yeah, and then Peggy sort of going, oh, my knees on the beach there. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
Very good.
Our good friend Sunny has joined us. Hey, Sunny Wolf and Hendrik Lamar propping our eyelids with our Portuguese back scratcher.
Keeping their eyelids open with the Portuguese back scratcher. That is a very good strategy.
What does that look like?
Well, it's a bit more substantial than a matchstick, so they're obviously very tired. Yeah, is what I would say.
Yeah, and I understand that Sunny's up at 5 a.m. tomorrow at the same time as I am as well, because we're so dedicated to the work we do.
Or avoiding things by being very busy.
Yeah, are you doing that too, Sunny? No innuendos, please, Mr. M.
Impossible.
Jim White is saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Sherry Huber.
Okay, thank you for that, Jim.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, okay. Well, one person agrees with me.
Yeah, missing home after a week in Blighty.
Oh, saudade.
So Portuguese, have you just arrived over here?
No, he's back in Blighty.
Right.
His heart is with Margarita in Lisbon, in Portugal, and he is a Portugueser, really. Expat Portugueser, but having to be in the UK and not enjoying it by the sound of it.
See, I mean, this is the context that you've got with all these people. I mean, your show is like a flipping soap opera, isn't it? Like everyone knows each other's lives. It's really sweet. Yeah, it's really lovely. Yeah. So Rowan saying, just to let you, sometimes the video footage does jump now and again. Okie dokes.
Rowan, always very good on the production.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rowan. Yeah. Kimberly saying, kick astrology.
Yeah, that was Steve Judd, wasn't it?
Kick astrology. Wise astrology.
Yeah, wise ass.
Kiss astrology.
Kiss my astrology. Oh, Carl, please. Sorry. Now, Vitor, this will be right up your street. I know Vitor's an amazing guy, very plain speaking Portuguese guy, tells it as he sees it. And I'm sure you'll have something to say about spirituality and how it should show up in everyday life.
Yeah.
We need some coasters, don't we, if that's going to keep happening?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Am I making a noise?
It's hurting in my headphones.
Okay. Have you seen the sign of the moon? I am glad I'm not on duty tonight. You know what, Margarita?
Yes,
I want to put this out to
yes,
everybody.
yes.
When you looked at the moon yesterday, did you see that part of it was missing?
Mm.
Because every time I looked at the moon, it looked like there was a tiny little fraction of it missing. And not a single person in the family agreed with me. They all said I needed to test my eyes. But I'm absolutely convinced that there was a corner of the moon, like kind of cut off. So I'm really keen to find out if that's your experience or not. But it is huge. Portuguese, we need...
Hold on a minute. We need to find out from Margarita. I mean,
yeah.
obviously in medicine and healthcare,
Yeah.
and how the moon affects people. So glad I'm not on duty tonight.
Okay.
A midwife, I believe.
Right.
And so is that sort of natural induction that's going on? The moon, the full moon, pulling the babes from the womb. I wonder, is that what happens for you, Margaret? Is that what you meant by that? And there you see, there's Andy and Margaret in the picture there. Now it falls into place. Okay.
Oh, so they're kind of also they're having a night out with us from their different locations.
That's right. That's lovely.
Oh, guys, that's really sweet. But
yeah,
I kind of hope you have a better night out than just us.
It's like getting a virtual room, possibly. No funny business in the comments.
Right.
Actually, funny business in the comments if you want.
Quality is never an accident. It is always the result of intelligent effort. John Ruskin.
Yes. John Ruskin was a funny bugger. I mean, I really admire the guy, but he had quite a sheltered upbringing, and he was unable to consummate his marriage because he'd been brought up as quite a cultured upbringing by his mother, I believe, and tutors. And that's why he was a great art critic, as it turned out, in his adult life. But he was only used to seeing alabaster statues of naked women. And when he encountered the, how do I put this? The natural state of the pudenda of his on his honeymoon evening.
What, with hair and stuff?
I don't know about stuff, but I mean, let's go with hair.
Yeah.
Which is when was he alive? But just around the time of the Industrial Revolution, when I don't think Brazilians and all that sort of stuff were the vogue. He was quite shocked with what he encountered.
Wow.
And couldn't consummate his marriage. And his marriage, I think his wife ended up possibly with Whistler, the British artist. And they had an affair instead. And Ruskin, I think, gave himself to his appreciation of art instead. What a sad story.
Wow. Okay.
Awkward.
Well, I didn't know you had that one inside.
Up my sleeve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Victoria's saying, plowing through on my own is an enormous test of my mental and emotional fortitude, but keeping my eye on the prize. So close. You're so blessed to have each other.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I agree with you as well, Victoria. Thank you for saying that. And I am grateful. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, me too.
And you still call me a narky bastard.
Yeah, but I mean you'd say the same.
I'm holding on to it, aren't I?
Yeah,
it was just said in a light-hearted way in the moment. I know.
Yes, I also said you are a narky bastard. How's that working out for you?
Yes,
using your phrase from
context. I've taken it out of context for my own purposes.
Carl put in the show notes, like, how's your spirituality working out for you? Yeah. So I was like, why is cracking him back?
You're calling me
I was totally like calling him
out.
out. Tested yesterday, Portugal D7 visa group. Stressful as we didn't know how it would turn out. Turned out just fine.
Isn't that great, Jim? And with these things that are big, I mean, I was talking to somebody this morning who's going through some big processes like this. And I said, how do you cope? How are you coping with this? And he said, if it happens, it will happen, was his philosophy. And I think that is deeply spiritual. And I believe him when he said that.
So I was reading ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
That's why I was smiling. I got
Look,
some great...
I think Andrew's done nearly as much lecturing as me today.
12 hours of lecturing today, exhausting. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I was drifting off. Sorry, I was literally reading ahead because there's some really interesting comments. So I don't know what I missed from you. So apologies. Kimberly, your path is clearly an intensely spiritual boot camp of bringing the divine into the down to earth daily stuff of everyday life. Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't be more important. Spirituality to the marketplace. Yeah. It does feel very real.
Yeah.
But thank you for recognizing
the way
that.
of the householder.
Yeah, definitely. Kimberly's also saying, I saw a bright blue line around the full moon this month. You know, I've been noticing it seems different. It just looks really different at the moment.
I think I saw the Jim Carrey people moving it slightly. What was that film? The Truman Show. The Truman Show people were just moving it into, they kind of messed up a bit.
No, it wasn't Truman Show. That was
yeah, it was a Truman Show where they created his reality for him.
Yeah, but he was in another show where he could
Spotless Mind?
No, where he played was it
Oh, he could move the moon.
Thingy
Yes,
Almighty.
yes,
Bruce
yes.
Almighty.
Yeah.
Okay, Hendrik Lamar is saying, been listening to yoga nidras before bed for the last few nights. Very relaxing and vividly saw my third eye staring back at me. Bizarre, but pretty cool. Definitely feel more relaxed. Thumbs up to guided meditation.
Or did he have a bad prawn?
What was your third eye looking at you for? Like, and what was it saying to you?
Did he have sunglasses on? I mean, this is
like,
yeah.
What was the feeling you got from your third eye? I'd love to hear how it was, because that could be really like freaky, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Or it could be like really cool.
It could not be freaky seeing your third eye staring back at you, I don't think.
Well, no, it'd be staring in at you, wouldn't it? Like, was it in a mirror? Like, if I was to draw with eyeliner, would it be like looking at yourself and you've got an eye looking at you?
You should go out with an eyeliner drawn on.
I shall go and do that.
Yeah.
Or was your eye actually looking inside at you? That's what I want to know.
Yes, we need to know. Or was it a bad prawn?
Full moon is tonight. It was like effectively at midnight, 1 o'clock this morning. But it is still full tonight. Yeah. Lots of rain here last night, so no moon to see, but appreciating that the rain is here to keep me focused on the task at hand. Thank you, universe.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, because it sounds like you're actually still in the middle of packing and doing stuff.
The busyness.
So it's amazing that you're here.
I'm sure I saw Mortic of Ruskin there.
There's like so many comments.
Ruskin
What's going on?
Was a Victorian reformer. Maybe we need another one back in modern times. He was remarkable. I do know a little bit about him, and I won't say too much, which you might be relieved to know. But he was a toff. Let's face it. But he was appalled by what happened to working people in the Industrial Revolution, and created not really maybe a museum, but a place of art and culture to lift the spirits of people's lives that would be, as he saw it, were being ruined by the Industrial Revolution. So he was an extraordinary man and a funny bugger. But aren't we all at times?
Sorry, I was reading ahead again.
This
is really terrible.
See, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I know this is what you're doing when we're having a conversation. You are reading ahead in your mind, aren't you? Like going, and actually you're thinking like a minute or two ahead of me.
Well, at least I'm fessing up to it. No, I was reading Margarita's comment, because I was thinking about the astrological application of it and why that might be.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that in a second. So Simon's joining us tonight, saying,
Simon.
Hola, boa noite, guys. I find keeping busy preoccupies me from procrastinating and overthinking, and quietens my thoughts.
Yeah,
very cool. So this is the one that I wanted to really pull out. Full moon, this is in the labor ward or the delivery suite, whatever it's called. Full moon equals lots of rupture of membranes and labor. Well, that's interesting.
They say, don't they, that these things don't affect people. I just ask someone who does a real job, like a midwife, and you'll see obviously it does.
Well, what I notice in astrology is family astrology keeps persisting. So, for instance, if you're born in the moon phase of the new moon, the chances are your children will be born in the phase of the new moon too, or weirdly enough, sometimes in the full moon. So you've got a full new moon pattern, which is it creates a really strong pattern in your astrology. Both Carl and I are born in the new to, like, we're born when the sun and the moon is between 90 degrees and 130 degrees away from each other. We're born technically in the same moon phase. All three of our kids together have their moon in that phase as well. The chances of that, it's slim, and you're more likely to conceive when the moon is in the same phase as it was at the time and place and date of your birth. So if you go that you have certain amount of moon cycles between your conception date and when your baby arrives, it follows that you're more likely that your children are going to be born in the same moon phase as you. Now, people that are born at the time of the full moon tend to have more difficulties because they're like running slightly higher in their energies. They tend to be
in life challenges.
I don't know. I think it's their responses to the life challenges. Like the moon is full. It's like they are full of emotion and ready to like for the emotion to just go completely crazy at the drop of a hat. They really feel everything and can't always let go of it.
I'm glad I'm not like that.
Yeah, you're not. One of your daughters is.
Oh, right. Okay. Which one, though?
Well, here's the interesting thing.
Guess. I'll make a guess on that.
Don't do it with any names. One of them is born.
That's not fair,
One of them is born in the new moon phase, and one of them is born in the full moon phase.
Okay, I'll think on with that.
And then the one that we have together is born in our phase, like the other two.
Okay, all right.
But anyway, people born at the time of the full moon tend to be slightly more dramatic. So when things happen to them, they react because it's like their waters seem stronger, like they seem just more full of emotion and less passive in it. And so it makes sense that when they're giving birth, if they're giving birth at the time of the full moon, which they probably are because their children would probably follow that pattern, there would be lots of rupture and membranes and labor because they are more dramatic people. And also children come at the right time for their birth charts as well. So if somebody is wanting to incarnate into a slightly more dramatic life, the chances are they're going to come at the full moon.
Good heavens.
So that's why I wanted to talk about it. I just think it's fascinating. But I mean, I've looked at, hundreds, thousands of charts and, and spoken to people about family astrology and, the quality of birthing and this, that and the other. And yeah, that's where my comments are coming from.
I just channeled something there.
Did you?
Good heavens could be the name of your course. Making astrology work for you. Good heavens.
I like that.
Anyway, we'll come back to that.
I love that. Good heavens. Thank you. You might have. Good heavens.
Mr. Evans.
Good evening from Jacqueline Branco. Hello. We're coming to your neck of the woods tomorrow. Coming back. What's happened to the mouse there?
Thane is here. And I was going to, when you were talking about our astrology, I was going to say when the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, because Thane would know that reference, a great musical mind.
Hey, Thane.
I often find myself in conflict between not suffering fools and the higher ideal of trying to be more gracious toward others' divergent points of view, especially on social media, particularly with dimwits. I think that tailed off towards the end there, Thane, with that with the mention of dimwits, it just sounds like you're not prepared to suffer fools gladly.
Yeah.
Yep. Oops. See what I mean? There you go. Goodness only knows what he's saying about us at home.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you're a bit like that as well.
What?
You are a bit like
A
that.
dimwit?
I mean, no. You don't suffer fools gladly. I don't think people would know that about you.
I know. I just inwardly and quietly criticize people. They would never know about it.
No. Andrea's sharing. Moon is bright but covered in a haze here. Well, I hope it covers a little bit later. Jim Portuglish, what are you lecturing on?
Bit like Ruskin's wife, covered in a haze. Yes, it was the Truman Show, says Victoria.
Oh, okay.
That's that. Yeah. What does? I think he's an engineering lecturer, isn't he? He has an engineering mind. I've observed. Again. So, would you say this is true, Andy? How you do one thing is how you do everything. You teach engineering, as I understand it. I've seen how I think your mind works in our conversations and the relationships such as we have it. We've never met, but we seem to know each other fairly well through the social media space. And I do think of you as a sort of blokey engineering mindset. Is that how your life tends to work? Margarita might be the best judge of that, but obviously I'm not asking you to speak out of turn. Check with each other before outing each other from your different countries that you're in. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Truman Show. When they're tinkering with the moon.
Really?
No, you're right.
I think
he does move the moon or the sunset to improve his chances on a date, doesn't he? In one of his films, and I think that's
Bruce Almighty, where he gets the power of God.
Absolutely, but what I was getting at is how you see the world and how maybe others are in charge of it and creating your reality for you. I was just a little bit of a joke about the Truman Show. People were just moving the moon into the right place. I could just see their fingers disappearing.
Yeah. Jim saying guided meditation rocks. Sure does. Thane sharing.
Suffering Falls Gladly.
Not sure if we can actually share this because I would be a bit worried, like in case someone pranks us. And
yeah, no, I don't think Thane would. Don't think Thane would expose us quite, but that's probably one to look at later on. Thank you for that, Thane.
Jim White saying, oh, this is to Jim White, undergrad lecturing composite materials and engineering design along the dissertation supervision.
Get on, right.
Dissertation. Yeah, I read that right.
Nice.
Okay, so here's to do with the eye. It was inside looking out, looking at me in my forehead.
Wow. Okay, and maybe
and did it talk to you? Like, was it like a mouth? You know, like
or did it just wink? Gave you a spiritual wink.
How did it feel seeing your third eye look at you? Was it the same color? Was it the right color? And I'm just really curious. Did rainbows come out of it?
Eubanks had a monocle on. Does he have a monocle on his third eye, looking at him? I wonder. Do you know who I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Boxer with the monocle.
I wonder if anyone does have a
monocle on their third eye.
Okay, so Jim and Portuguese just need to get a room, don't they?
I love the job in my field. The work is hard, but hugely rewarding. Yeah, teaching is a great job, isn't it? You know that as a trainer yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. Kimberly, what's Kimberly saying there?
One of my ex's dad ran the local police department. They always put extra officers out on the streets at the full moon.
And these are very rational, logical police officers, aren't they? Who, again, are tipping a little nod at there's old Mother Nature winding us up and setting us off on certain paths there.
And she's added, oh, Lordy, I was born on a full moon. Makes sense. I know full well that I am best not to go out among people on a full moon.
Watch out.
I do absolutely recommend that people who are born into a full moon pattern don't go out on full moons.
Well, to pop down the off license.
No, definitely
only
not.
To find it shut and then
Just that you need to manage your energies a bit more like strictly, or anyone with a really strong moon pattern. Portuguese, did you know the moon always faces Earth on the same side? It has an offset iron core, which means it's stuck on one side facing towards us.
Which NASA, should we go there? Which NASA discovered in the 60s, didn't they, when those American gentlemen went there?
I'm not going there. I'm sorry. Right. Interesting, guys. We'll look into that. I'm in a waning crescent phase.
Well, what you do in your private life is up to you.
Well, this is the phase for you, Simon. We are coming into your time. Like the time of waning, it's about, letting go of stuff and getting more organized and kind of refining things. So I think people have a bit more discernment when they're born in the waning phase, unlike Carl and I, who are in the waxing phase, where we're like, let's have this idea, let's go, blah, 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 and like setting loads of different things off in different directions. Yes. And we need a wainer, to come in and sort us out.
Right, old wainer. Right. I have a very man in the shed. You see, this is what I thought. This is how I see you. I mean, you published some pictures today of something. She's gone. Mama's gone up to the connection there between mama and baby. The continuum concept is rocking and rolling there. I have a very man in a shed type of brain. And I saw that from the pictures that you posted today, Andy. That DIY job. I can see how you think. Lee McGrady's here. Good evening, everyone. Hey up, Lee. Having a beer and a fag, watching the spiritual Portugal shows. How I would see you in my mind's eye this evening. Hope you're well. Good heavens, making astrology work for you. Great show title. Thanks, Jim. And if I get a chance to talk about the online course boot camp that we might all get involved in to see how our spirituality works, just for fun, well, and for profit. I think we could have some fun with that, and see how we're operating. Margarita, that is very interesting. Lots of dramatic people. I made a study about how birth relates to the moon phases, and the only consistent result was full moon affects the rupture, or maybe the rapture as well. Something to do with water and tides, etc. Yeah, I guess. But now that you said that, maybe the dramatics making their appearance as well. That warrants a further conversation, possibly, doesn't it? the connection with astrology and midwifery. How about that? The YouTube link was a Scarlett Rivera tune about the ring around the moon. She played violin on Bob Dylan's Rolling Thunder tour. There you go. Thanks for that, Thane. And Hendrik Lamar, From Memory, The Truman Show, the moon-sun relationship are what alerts him to his predicament of reality not being what it seems. And isn't that interesting? Because it's such a good film. It's such a good idea, isn't it? And how it is that humankind, you would imagine, have looked up to the stars to find meaning in life and looked for patterns, and then seen little sort of, not indiscretions, but in a lack of pattern maybe, and certain things happening at certain times. I mean, we take so much for granted now, don't we? When all we had to stare at night was the stars and the planets. That would give us that was the internet for people, wasn't it? Back in the day, the skies were the internet, and people would be able to read the skies in a way that we just don't bother with now, because instead of looking at the sky, we look on the internet to see what the stars are and where they should be in the planets. Isn't it bizarre? Hendrik Lamar, I was in a council meeting yesterday, and there was a fire. Did you film it? That's an extension of that Zoom call, isn't it? Actually, fisticuffs. I mean, what's going on? What's going on? My son and I were born in the waning phase, I think. My daughter born waxing crescent. You guys know so much about yourselves like that. Oh, Carl and his waxing phase. When will it end? the moon's fixed position. And yeah, okay, so a spiritual fess up. I was going to say a spiritual spess up, but so this idea of how we do one thing is how we do everything. It's the same, isn't it? So my attempts at humor are partly a coping strategy, and the bits of it that people find annoying are probably the bits of it that I could do well with leaving behind me, but they are quite habitual. And are we moving into a time where we can all be quite frank with each other and just say, all those rude comments you make and the innuendos, they are just a habit that could be well left behind now. Yes, put behind you. See, there you go. Innuendo for you. The moon's fixed position can be observed from Earth. What does that mean? So the moon, I see, I don't know how this works, but we're talking astronomy rather than astrology now. And what the moon is a fixed thing. Are you saying there? Lee is also what he's saying, from being all serious one minute and then shouting out Lee the next. The fight is on YouTube. So in Southwest UK, councillors, a fight broke out, by the sound of it, in the council chamber in Southwest England yesterday. Canada were having a national election. I think old Justin Trudeau squeezed back in, didn't he? And as is happening all over the world, not much of a majority. But more and more polar. 48 plays 52. Those sorts of things. This is the scenario of politics around the world, isn't it? At the moment, it would seem. Okay, I've lost Louisa too. Our littlest has woken up, so she's gone to see to him, obviously, quite rightly too. And we love the smut, and I never said smut, but okay. We love the smut and innuendo. It's not everyone's cup of tea. I realise that, but I do endeavour to be observant and take a sort of transcendent view of it. And I think there's nothing wrong with it, is there, with having a personality and seeing that balance of, again, this is connected with, I hope, or I'll endeavor to make a connection with the meat or the vegan cutlet of burger of the subject matter tonight. How we do one thing is how we do everything. If we tend to reduce situations to humor, perhaps that's an indication of how we might not be very serious generally about life. And as we love to do here on Spiritual Portugal, if you want to own up to stuff, if you want to be introspective or transcendental, and just observe something about yourself in this regard, I love that when that happens and people take the opportunity to do that. So feel free in the comments, if you've seen something about yourself with regard to how we do one thing is how we do everything, please share that. And so, given that I'm on my own now, and I probably shouldn't be let on the internet on my own without Mrs. M, I am going to talk about the online course. But first, in the UK, a lot of the big decisions on mandates, lockdowns, etc. during COVID have coincided with the equinoxes and solstices. Why is this? Why is this? I wonder. Is there a purposeful and strategic agenda to do so, or are human beings more disposed to launching things as they if they are in any way natural and in tune with the natural cycles? They might naturally do that, mightn't they? Or do you suspect something more sinister? The moon orbits the Earth, but there is always the same lunar surface that we see, hence the dark side of the moon, right? The moon has a weird fixed position, so we never see the backside of it, the dark side of the moon, famously known as a phrase from popular culture, obviously. Okay, so who's up for this? Okay, I have a challenge for you, and this is where you might see that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I'm inviting you now to start an online course. I know these are all a rage and you can barely scroll through Facebook now, or maybe it's just my social media sphere that does this because it's what I'm interested in. Other people are seeing pile cream adverts, aren't they? Because that's what they search for, whatever. But I'm thinking that a lot of people are getting into designing and delivering online courses now. I've done that in the last few months. I have been working on an online course, which I'm very chuffed with. And it was a matter of getting on with it. Okay, and I like that phrase, get on with it, and not letting the excellence spoil the good, just cracking on with stuff. And I know that that can be to a fault as well, because the attention to detail can go amiss sometimes with that. But I do know also there are a lot of procrastinators out and about, and I know there are a lot of people who've been saying they want to do a course for a long time and haven't for whatever reason. And that's what the invitation is tonight. How about a group of us get together who want to do, I've got a template for it and I'm happy to help. I'm more than happy to help with the tech side of things, share what I know from a technical point of view. I know how to get online and facilitate a group of people and move them from A to B. It's their call, obviously, on how well they think I've done that. And it's all work in progress. I think it's gone pretty well. And we've moved from a beta tested course into a fully formed course that launches on the 1st of October. But I want to do what do they call it? A side hustle. And for a long time now, I've been doing meditation videos and talking about my own earnest slant on spirituality. And I want to make a course of it. And I want to do it in the company of other people. So if you want to do this is the template. This is the skeleton. If you want to do let's call it like a 12-part, 12-week, 12-section course, this could be our project that we do together to, on the face of it, to create a money making, a profitable, not just money making, but profitable, a truly profitable thing, because that will bring up demons and that will bring up your stuff and challenge your ideas about your self-worth. But let's do a course that you sell and make a profit, so you're not diddling yourself, you're not putting more into it than you get out of it. It's not an addiction, as in it owns you and you don't own it. We're talking about creating an online course together and sharing our respective parts of it to make it happen and taking it online. We could do it. We could do it in 12 weeks or 12 sections or even sooner than that. But we could agree a release date and we all help each other get that ball over the line by a certain time and get it published. And not just get something published, but get something published that really feels like we all mutually, universally among us feel that, yes, wherever we've had a blockage, or whether we've come across a limitation, wherever we've come across a limitation, we have blasted through it with the help of each other. Okay, so one notable example of that, you're creating your 12-week course and we come to the point where you're naming it, like, good heavens, how to make astrology work for you. And if let's say there are 6 of us or 10 of us working together on this, it would be a consensus matter. It wouldn't just be, and I tend to do this. I tend to think of a course name, buy the domain name, and then do nothing with it. I'm sure I'm not the only one who does that. And I tend to criticize Louisa's names for her courses because I don't think they solve a problem necessarily or deal with some of the sort of marketing angles that you should tick when you're going into the public space and marketing a course. So, for example, good heavens, how to make astrology work for you. we would have a consensus on that. So yeah, that's definitely the right thing for Louisa to do in this case. I'm not saying that specifically, but we would have a consensual approach, a collective approach to helping each other get the best out of this process for each other and blast through the procrastination, blast through the limitation, blast through I guess it won't always be a blast, will it? Sometimes it's going to be a little bit awkward and difficult and a little bit therapeutic, where we're saying to somebody, look, if you only put this course out for if it's a membership thing and you make it €9 a month, you're never going to make any money. And the reason you're doing that is because you're not valuing your content and you're not valuing yourself. And that person might say, it's true, I'm not. But I can't. How can I do it for 49 or 97 or 497? I can't do it. And we'll all say to that person, try it. Let's do it. Let's do the work so that you feel like maybe that you don't fully own and deserve that. Because I think that is quite a big ask and a big idea for people. But it's not out of the question. You feel 90% okay with it. And isn't it good to have 10% where you're not quite sure and you'll grow into it? So all of that, the pricing, the structure, the content, a course that you can be proud of. Should we work on that together? Should we all have a ball that we're going to get over the line by a certain date and help each other doing that? Who's in? I will DM you on course creation. So it sounds like Victoria might be interested. It sounds like Jim might be interested as well. I am interested. That's 2 people. That's good. I think Good Heavens, etc. is a fantastic idea. Carl, you do have a gift with truly incisive language, a genuine wordsmith. God bless you, Kimberly. And that's something I'm happy to share with everybody as we work together. And I'll need some help, I think, on the self-worth stuff of saying, hell yeah, let's call it 997 and let's make the course worth that. People might be able to help me with that. You know, some of you folks for whom the self-worth and money conversation is quite resolved. You never think twice about it. Why have all these other people got a problem with money? And you know, we're all different, aren't we, in this way, that there are things in our lives that some of us think nothing about because we've mastered it at quite an unconscious level. And then there's the thing for most people, like Stevie Wonder said, everybody's got a thing, but some don't know how to handle it. This is where we can help each other handle it, right? And see what that limiting belief or that dark area is in our lives where that we haven't shone much light, and we'll do it together. And I'm thinking we could do it as a WhatsApp group, and we could do it quite quickly and quite matter-of-factly. And these are the ground rules that we could create, right? We could say, look, you know, okay, get off it. You're just doing your bullshit stuff about money again. We know you, we love you, we think you're worth a lot of money. Trust us on this. Charge more for your time. Don't rob yourself with this project. We can't allow you to rob yourself with this. We can't let anyone in this project rob themselves by being involved and giving more than they might get back in return. Again, I don't mean that in a cynical way. I just think that's how life should work, is that we can gladly and freely give and know that our seed will grow. The seed will be in the right soil, will grow. And that's not, it's, you know, when we plant a bean and we get, is everything all right? When we plant a bean and we get a runner beans, are they called runner beans? Yeah, French beans or whatever. We don't think, oh, we've cheated nature. I only planted one bean and now I've got more bloody beans than I know what to do with. We don't think we've pulled the fast one on nature. That's just how nature works, and we can be part of that. Okay, so let's see what else people have been saying. Mrs. Emma's come back to find me going on again, but we've got Jim and Victoria interested in this course idea. Andy, Lee, the moon orbits the earth. Cup of tea, yes, please. Not too full. Humor is an amazing gift. It relieves tension and brings a levity that is usually more welcome than not. Thank you, Victoria, for that. If that indeed is aimed at me. Sorry? The astrology is coming. Okay. It was foretold. The astrology is coming. Maybe the moon is like us. We only show one side of ourselves. Boom! That's a profound and right comment, I think, to make. Maybe we are fixed in our orbits and relationship to other people. And maybe that changes on the person, but that is absolutely, I think that's a fantastic metaphor, Margarita, that we are like that with some people, aren't we? And maybe the moon can't change itself, but us with our self-consciousness can. I mean, I saw this amazing thing about a research project with mice today. And it was about how over a number of experiments, these mice civilizations grew to a point where the male mice became quite ineffectual, and you had some rather. Oh, this is supposedly. I don't know. Sometimes these things are just, kind of fake news, made up stuff, and it makes an interesting point. And you shouldn't take the sort of the letter of the law too seriously, but just feel the mythical power of it. And it was a parallel of our times, where men have lost their way, and there were some rather perhaps overbearing female energies, or not balanced female energies, let's put it like that, or the male and female balance is out of whack with these mice civilizations. And I thought to myself, well, but we're not mice. We are self-conscious, aren't we, in the way that mice aren't? So whilst on an animal level, that may well indeed be happening, we have the power to rebalance, to see what's going on and rebalance it. And I'm not sure why I'm saying, I'm saying that because, Margarita, I think you're absolutely right. If we do suddenly, I mean, let's take what Margarita's saying there. Mrs. M, incoming.
Hang on, I'm going to drop some more chocolate.
Okay, so let's say, for example, okay. Let's say, for example, we are fixed like the moon in relation to, look, we can see the reflection of you going upstairs without any trousers on. And that makes two of us. So let's say we do have a fixed face and we don't let people see our dark side. We can self-consciously alter that, can't we? And change that pattern in the way that perhaps the moon can't. But totally love that, Margarita. Thank you very much for that. Trying to make sure I'm not missing anything here. I have a ton of online ideas focused on education and other things. Antenatal for Mrs. Portuguese. Okay, so ideas are one thing, aren't they, Andy? And whether or not they get put into practice, you see, that might be another thing, mightn't it? If the sort of person, if we're talking about how you do one thing is how you do everything, the sort of person who has lots of ideas but doesn't put them into practice may also be a hoarder. And I'm not saying this is you, but I'm just saying this is how these things can work. Okay, so it might be that person collects ideas but doesn't actually put them into practice. And within this merry band of online, I don't care what it is. I'm just interested in the moment in online course creation. I think it's a nice way we could all make some extra income and work together online. It's pretty perfect. It's the echo chamber I'm in. But we could be building a house together. We could be starting a community together. God forbid, because that's not easy doing that sort of stuff. But it's not really, the point of it is not what we're making. The point is how we're being about it and how we're showing up in the process, okay? And if we can create the right sort of rapport and community where we can say, Carl, you're just deflecting with loads of smutty innuendo now, rather than doing the spreadsheet on your course that shows you how much you're going to make or not make. Okay, it's attention to detail time, Carl. Stop messing about. Stop doing jokes and deflecting. Do the work on the spreadsheet, and then if I know that you know me and you're calling me to account like that, wouldn't that be a great community to be part of? I don't think we do tend to expose ourselves to that level of accountability, and in many ways, our friendship groups might be other people who don't do that. They're like support groups, aren't they? I'm not going to talk about your addictions and stuff if you don't poke your finger into mine. Maybe we want a little bit more for each other than that. So maybe, as well as Jim and as Victoria, we might have Andy and we might have Margarita involved with this. Kimberly likes good heavens, love. Jim, what is the broad focus of the course right now? Realizing it will always be changing. I'm interested. Like you, I have been doing training and workshops for years. Fun transition to online. It would be an honor to help you with that, Jim. It really would. Kimberly, I got a bit tearful there. I know that I have a thing, maybe a big thing, and I do not know how to handle it. I will avoid smutty innuendo with that sentence, Kimberly, given the gravity of this situation. Here to help you and serve you with that, absolutely, if you would like that. I never think twice about what my time is worth. If I'm doing something to a high standard, I want paying for my experience. And you see, I would expect to hear that from Lee. No nonsense, northerner, and he's straightforward. He says what he thinks, and you know where you are with Lee. And I love that about you, Lee. I really do. And I could do with a bit of that, as I think some other people here could do with a bit of that. So I don't know if Lee's joining us and doing it. I mean, that's probably to him is the worst nightmare, talking about gardening and doing something online rather than actually getting his hands dirty. But we will see. Transitioning to online, Jim White is saying there, and Kimberly Jones, what might be your superpower? Good question, Jim. I have many. Is a great answer. That's so great. Says Jim to Kimberly on that. Agree with you as well about your self-assessment there, Kimberly. So, what do you think, folks? I think I'm gonna hand the mic back to Mrs. M now, and I think we're gonna come to a close. She's up in the morning, doing a trans global call with Rick. And where is it going to be on the Richter scale tomorrow in terms of spiritual elevation? Tune in tomorrow morning. Just set your alarm now and be up again in 5 hours, and you can tune in again to Mrs. M. I'm going to be asleep when that's happening. And Wolfgang is here. Fantastic. We got on late. Good to see you. It was great to see you, Wolfgang, Victoria as well. So maybe you've got an online course. If you watch this again and spin back, I've laid down a gauntlet for online course creation. I would like to work with a group big enough where we can create that sort of accountability and support for each other. So it's got to be a balance of, like, if you want to kick my ass at times when it's necessary, it should be mutual. But it also, if we
go open to me as well, you
can kick my ass anytime. Margarita, count me in. I think it's a brilliant idea. Fantastic. Good night, all. He needs his beauty sleep. What sort of joke do you make when someone says that? No one sleeps that long. No. My mother-in-law, she's got laughter lines, but nothing's that funny. Not really my mother-in-law. Test pilot in the broom factory. You know where I am. You know where to find me if you want to do that. If you want to get involved in this. I think high level of love and bondedness. I think we've already got the beginnings of that. And what goes with that is a high level of accountability as well. Come on, for goodness sake, stop fannying about. Get this course written. We're all going to get over the line by a certain time, even if at times it means supporting each other, burning the midnight oil, and making this happen. Thank you for your forbearance and attention.
Plastic surgeon pillow. What's that about?
He needs his beauty sleep.
Oh, okay, right. So I think Carl is like my fluffer, isn't he? He's been like fluffing you all for a bit of astrology. It sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it? Can I have those? Thank you.
So sure. I think I've got something in Uranus.
Because it's quite late, I am not going to be spending too long doing the astrology. Carl's creeping past, so you don't see his underpants. I wonder if you know what kind of pants he wears. We'll find out if any of you saw. Anyway, I've got a couple of questions from the live that I did earlier. A couple of people have asked me some questions, so I'm just going to answer them, and it's based on the astrology, in particular about the astrology from the equinox, which starts tomorrow, I think at 8:20. That's Lisbon, London time. So anyway, if you're interested in the upcoming astrology for the next 3 months, then if you go to Luisa Tanner Munson, or I think Spiritual Portugal on YouTube, and I posted it to both of those anyway. But here are the questions. So the first one is blue boxes in the mirror. Yes, they are.
Dead birds don't fly out their nest.
I don't know if you heard that, but Carl said dead birds don't fly out of their nest, which gives a really awful kind of mental visual of what's going on there. Where's my phone, love? If you just nicked it.
Yeah.
I need my phone.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find mine.
Sorry, I need my phone to read out these questions. So thank you all, says Jim White. Kimberly saying, I knew he had to be a boxers guy. Yes. Yes, he is. Right, Kimberly. So we're having a look at your question. And you said it was okay for me to share some of the details. So you've been saying, I'm longing for all the truths to come out, which of course I know will do and will facilitate potential psychological and even spiritual crisis for many, leading to reclaiming power and sovereignty, freedom, breaking down and waking up. No more trusting and relying on mummy and daddy, in brackets, healthcare system and government. I know this is all going to happen. I see it rather selfishly, perhaps. I'm just curious if astrology shows when and more about the pattern of the unfolding, the timeline. And then there's something that I think a lot of us will relate to, for people who really feel things, who are very empathic, because until the truth dominates collective consciousness, my body is in pain. My body relaxes and releases in the company of truth. I find my own truth bathes to soak in, I find my own truth baths to soak in, but I'm hugely impacted by, oh, hang on, my mobile just went there. Hugely impacted by what feels like the waiting and the lies. Feels like a giant boil waiting to burst and getting hotter and more inflamed and intense as I wait and reluctantly trust the process. I completely understand what you're talking about. And actually, I'm pretty sure that the other people that have sent me a question also feel like this as well. I do not feel the experience will be the same for everyone. And that's just talking about the awakening. But basically, I'm getting to the last paragraph. I know the shift is hitting the fan in various ways and will continue at different times. I'm just looking for hope, confirmation, validation, and relief on the human level from this bloody awful, painful, growing, energetic boil. I really, really hear you. Where's the chart that I did? Love? Yeah. You shut down the charts that I had prepared and put up on the screen, ready to share.
Oh, I thought the kids were doing spirograph on the laptop.
This is so annoying. So I got it all up. No, but I'd set up asteroids and everything to put in. They're not going to be there now.
I can only apologise.
15 minutes of preparation down the drain.
Because you left too many tabs open.
Oh my goodness. I can't. There's no way I can find this now. And we can't have this dead space. You know what? I'm so sorry to the people. No, for the people who've asked questions, I'm going to have to record this separately because I need the charts and the asteroids that I've put in. And it's just going to be dead space. And it's going to be really boring for everyone who is watching me.
I'm so sorry. Is that an example of how you do everything? How you do? Do I just blast through and just cause that sort of chaos generally?
Yes, you do. Come back and feel my wrath on the screen. Carl was just asking, is this how he does everything, which is to just blast through, kind of do what he wants, turn things off without thinking about it? And yes, it is. That is my experience of you and how you do everything.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that. And it's quite a good complementary mix, isn't it?
Yeah, because
you leave too many tabs open.
No, they were all your tabs. I had 2 tabs open and the rest of them were all your tabs. Okay. Like the Canvas, the Facebooks. This is on your profile on the laptop. They were all your tabs apart from 2 tabs. And you just like closed it down.
And I because I thought I was doing the right thing in restarting the computer. So I do apologize to those people who wanted to hear about I mean, I could offer to do it intuitively myself now.
Go on.
No, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to do that because that'll be wrong and misleading. And I trust you. I mean, that's another thing about you is you got my back, so you're going to forgive me.
Oh, totally. I've already forgiven. I've already forgotten. Well, not forgotten, but I've already forgiven it. It's no brainer because, like,
and that is you. I mean, often with this thing about how you do one thing is how you do everything. It could be seen only as critical stuff, but it's all the good things as well, which includes your very loving and forgiving nature. How you approach things.
But it also goes to show that whilst I do like to work on the fly, if I get the chance to do some preparation, I do. And I could Kimberly say, I haven't forgiven you, Carl.
Sorry, Kimberly. Shall I write it out in longhand instead of a recording? I could write it, couldn't I? You dictate it to me.
Kimberly, I will find out. I'm probably going to record it tonight anyway, and I will post it to Louisa Tanner Munson as a standalone, and I'll send you the link. But I will do it tonight.
I've upset Kimberly on a full moon as well. That's just double bad, isn't it?
But anyway, let's wrap up this show then. So,
well, you're very kindly saying you're wrapping it up, and I've destroyed it, haven't I? So I do apologise to those people who were waiting for readings, and I closed the tabs in my blustery way, and I trust it will be resolved in time. She got my back. Yeah,
and Kimberly's saying, "Yeah, right. Watch it, Buster." Yes. Anyway,
I feel quite vulnerable.
And Hendrix is saying,
"A true full
moon ending."
So true. Yikes.
Well, Kimberly and Hendrik, your readings will come in the next video that I'm going to do. So I'm going to set up those. Sleep with one eye open tonight. Oh, Carl, yes, that's not the dead bird eye. So anyway,
so I need Hendrik's meditation so that I can watch myself with my third eye in case Kimberly comes at me in the night.
Yeah, it's been fun. Well, thank you very much, Simon. Yes, it has been fun, and we do try and keep it real. Which we do. So anyway, I think we need to wrap this up because I've got to do a little bit of work behind the scenes now
before you get up at 5 and do your next live stream.
Yep, amazing. That's right.
And that's again how you do one thing says everything you do. You take life by the proverbials. And did you watch your phrase, kick the arse out of it?
Yeah, I kick the arse out of everything, don't I? So and Wolfgang saying good night and thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you very much for coming.
Namaste.
And all that jazz.
Up the gunners. Yep.
So anyway, that's us out from this. And when we come to you next time, we're going to be coming to you from a new venue, aren't we?
It's Tuesday tonight, so it may well be next Saturday night. We might be on air.
And we'll be in our new home.
In the new venue.
I guess a lot of it depends if we can get the internet sorted out in time. But
otherwise, it will be truly intuitive and psychic. And we'll see who's able to connect with us on that level.
Yes. Okay. So anyway, lots of love. Take care. Thanks for joining us.
Bye for now.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.